But basically I've been in bed for about 15 years and ill for 21 years with chronic fatigue syndrome. So my symptoms are high pain, fatigue, cloudy mind, so putting this video together is a bit tough, and just being in bed pretty much. I have to be horizontal for about 23 hours a day and only sitting up for about 10 to 15 minutes when symptoms are bad. Ray's asked me to just explain what things I've learned in isolation. It's not an isolation that I've chosen for myself. Sort of stuck in bed, laying on my back for many hours. I'll get a little bit of a flurry of a night time when family joins me and we eat in my bedroom, we watch television in my bedroom, we entertain in my bedroom. So I live in a box of 4 metres by 4 metres. And what have I learned about my relationship with Jesus over those years? I think I'm a slow learner is the first thing. That in the early years, I just waited for God to take me home and resurrect my body and to be new again. And God is very, very good. And the one thing I've learned is He is a faithful and loving God. He has just held on to me. He has carried me. He has listened to my laments. He has listened to my tears. The Psalms have been a stable, and the Gospels for me, just reading them over and over and over in times when my pain is high, and I just cry out to Him with anxiety and pain and just saying, help me. So if anything, the one thing that I've learned is just to hold on tightly. People say that my example of suffering, and it has been many, many years of suffering on a daily basis, has encouraged them, which I always find surprising because I don't think that I'm brilliant at anything. But what I can say is I've really learnt to just grab hold of Jesus, and I do not let go. Or I should say He has grabbed hold of me and He carries me through life. And it has been in the last few years, and it's taken, that's the slow learner part, it's taken a little bit of time for me to see that He is the greater partner in this partnership. He longs to love me and to carry me through those hard times. I love that the Bible is full of laments in the Psalms of people that are anxious and feeling terrified, and many of you might be at the moment. But He is the one that listens, the one that puts that into Scripture, but the one that is great and can overcome it, the one that is sovereign, but the one that is always tempered by love through Jesus and what He's done for us, just the greatest act of love with His death. So it's just lots of hours on my back in bed, me, a bit of Netflix, a bit of telly, a bit of some other things, can't really read very much, and God. And in the last few years, there's just some quite beautiful things that I've just reflected upon. And it's only been in the last few years that I think in suffering, for the first time, I'm sort of okay that there's no grand plan. I used to preach at MBM in the early days and be an evangelist under just preaching around the place, telling people about Jesus, loving doing that, and then God just allowed that to stop through this illness. But even if there was no grand plan other than to glorify Him, for Him to say, well done, Shaun, I love you, mate, and that's okay if that's all that it is when I come before Him, that there wasn't any other great thing happening in heaven like Job, just for me to be faithful. And what I've learned is He is one that has grown me. And the one thing I think now in the last few years is I try to live for others. I try to look for others that are doing it tough. I try to lean into suffering with others. I've got a mate at the moment doing it terribly for the last year with chemotherapy and cancer, and very developed. And we have just hugged each other and supported each other, encouraged each other, and modelled each other Christ. And it's been a wonderful thing. I've not known this person a year ago. We just, through my wife, I came to know him. And that God does that. You've got two options when it comes to hardship like the coronavirus. That is to lean into God and lean into others, supporting each other, being Christ to each other. And the sum of the law is to love God and to love others. And that's the simplicity of my Christian life in bed, in isolation. Just to love Him with all my heart, mind, body and soul, and to love those that I can, even in my isolation.